Hey, what's going on, guys? Do not adjust your stereo. Do not adjust your television or whatever you're listening to or watching. This is Gene from Buck What You Heard, and normally you would find me on Wednesdays or Fridays. And Rick Hughes, who did such an amazing job with the draft, he ended up going back to Carolina, so I got to come in and hang out a little bit with you guys. Um, I would love to hear from you and just get your thoughts on the draft. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into this. 813-358-8154. Do me a favor. If you can, just, call in. I do have everything set up to get these calls because I do want to hear from you. I mean, this is big. Tampa has never been in this position before where you're able to, you're able to get these kind of drafts where you had a 32 pick and then you continue to pick throughout and you're able to trade up at some point. So, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? How did the draft go for you? Where were the Buccaneers and Jason Light, who to me has done a phenomenal job the last three drafts? How does he measure up? And that's what I'll be really interested to hear from you. I will have some other people on as well. I think Joshua Cole Allen may come on. I know I'm running a little bit late. I just, as soon as I got in, I went live, and that's kind of where I'm at. We may even get the dude on here and see if we can get him to chime in on what his thoughts were. But folks, I do want to say this. Regardless, am I the only one not seeing? Tim, what are you not? What are we not seeing? Oh, okay. Here we go. Misador, what's going on? Love the Tyron. Love the Tryon pick. Not sold on Trask, but got to trust in Light. That's kind of where I'm at. Jason Light has more than made up for some of the early on moves that he's made in the draft and free agency, helping this team get a Super Bowl. So, be sure to call in 813-358-8154. I'm going to drop the link in here too. And if you're able to come on, I would like for you to come on here and, just talk about, what do you think? How do you think that the Bucks did? And one thing to keep in mind is how many of these players will be able to stick with this team, and that's another thing to look at. I think we're very fortunate this year as opposed to last year, where you've got camp, you've got OTAs, you've got these different things to really give your players an opportunity to show what they can do. And you really didn't have that last year. And the Bucks were very fortunate with what they had. Craig, I like this comment here. Trask has the mentality of an NFL quarterback. Those are the positive things I want to see. Trask was not my pick, but I'm good with the pick because the Bucks do need to consider that quarterback position for the future. And I think a lot of these picks are, setups for the future. I think, if these players can come out and show what we think they can do, I think they're going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and get to the chat here. Again, you're more than welcome to call in 813-358-8154. And, I want to hear from you guys. Again, if you get a chance, Craig Allen Voorhees, I love this. So I'm just kind of going through the chat here. We'll have some more people on here shortly, and we'll really get this going here. Ben Parrish, what's going on, man? I love the first three picks. Curious to see if that third pick can make a difference on special teams. You know what? The Bucks have been struggling with the kick returns. That's one of the things that I don't know why it's so hard for Tampa historically to get a good kick returner. I think they've had like two. I think Clifton Smith and Clifton Smith was one. I can't think of the other guy's name, and it'll come to me here, or somebody may. bring it up here. But the Bucks have just not had consistent luck getting in kick returners. So let's hope that, this all changes, and this can definitely be something that the Bucks can really to work towards. Oh, here we go. I'm not alone. What's going on? And hopefully you guys can hear me. Let's see. This may be something on my end. Let's check. Let me make sure. Nope. I think we're good. The dude, are you there? Okay. Let's see. How about, all right, hold on one second here. Yeah, it should be okay. You can hear me. All right, let's see if let's give me a second here. Let's try this again. Okay, so you can't hear me. All right. Can you hear me? The dude. Not sure what's going on here or why. I have my mic up. I can hear him, and I don't know. We'll see if we can get him on here. Not sure why we can't hear the dude. Give me a second here. Guess he had a bad connection. Let's see. I don't know why this is. Oh well, we'll get him on here. We'll get him on here eventually. These are the adventures of going live. So these things will happen. And I'm going to get back to the chat because this is what fuels the show, is what you guys are saying. I dropped a link in there too. I'd love for you to come on if you can get a chance to hop on. If you have the ability to hop on, I'd love to hear from you, have you on, and get your thoughts. And the chat's really building up here. I love it. Joe Tryon, I like the pick. And they're not. He's not expected to come out there and just like start. He can come in and play, or there's not a lot of weight on his shoulders as far as everything goes. The dude, how you doing? Why am I not? Okay. He's saying that StreamYard is the problem. There's an issue with StreamYard. Okay, the dude, you could call in 813-358-8154. I would love to hear from you. But it looks like StreamYard's having some drama problems, so we'll work through it. We'll get it all worked through. We'll get them on here. And let me get back to that. I do like the picks, but missed on a future defensive tackle though. Craig, put in the chat for me who you thought that should have been, that defensive tackle. And Misador, shock we made 7 picks. Why? No real roster space. In my mind, when I was originally looking at this, I was thinking, you know what? What if Tampa traded back and had future picks for next year? How would that work out? I mean, you kind of need them a little bit more next year than this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out. But ultimately, I'm going to tell you this. I'm along for the ride. It doesn't matter how it goes. I'm along for the ride. We know that Jason Light is a more than capable general manager of getting things done. The dude, you there?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I think we overworked StreamYard this week with the draft, bro.
There you go. Craig Allen Voorhees, that's a great point. I was always curious about that. Surprised we never used Scooter as a returner. I don't know. That's an interesting thought there. But again, Tampa has historically always had issues with kick returners, getting a consistent kick returner in here. So let's hope they've solved those woes this year. I want to ask you, how do you think the draft went in your mind? And put on your dude general manager hat, your general dude hat, and let me know what you think.
Well, unlike most people, I was happy with the first pick. Tryon, to me, if you look at his measurables, he's literally the same size as Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul, give or take a couple pounds here or there. The kid's high motor. Not to sound like one of these draft geeks, but he's got a good lean in the middle of his rush. Very flexible, has an inside move, an outside move, and has a nose for the football. And again, with this team bringing back 22 starters, he gets to sit back and be a rotational / special team guy. So the guy's only going to grow. Dude, now, Kyle Trask, if he can get 2 years under Tom Brady and some of that rubs off, I can see Kyle Trask being a legitimate NFL quarterback. If he was in a situation where we had to throw him to the Wolves, like week 1, he's going to go down quick. But that said, overall, the draft, I know a lot of you people there's not a lot of sexy names in there aside from Kyle Trask. But let's be honest. A couple years ago, we were at the same point in time in the draft, the night after the last round, and everybody was screaming from the mountaintops, all these defensive backs, we don't know who they are. They're garbage, blah, blah, blah. And now those defensive backs are some of your favorite players on the team. So
Yeah.
Trust the process. No, there's not one person in this draft that as of today has to step in and make an impact. They just have to step in and learn the way the Buccaneers and Tom Brady are playing football and running an organization. So I'll be positive, yet realistic. I'll give the Buccaneers a solid B on the grade.
What would have brought that grade up for you, just based on the moves that they made? And before I ask that question, I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit. Kyle Trask is a lightning rod in the Florida area. He just is, because he's a Gator, and it just, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna go into it anymore. If we put all what school he went to, put all that aside, does he have the measurables to be a good NFL quarterback? Is he somebody that you would be comfortable, not this year, but maybe next year or year after, where he's been able to sit and learn? Would you be comfortable with somebody like him coming in? I know we haven't seen a snap, and I know this is just kind of a what if scenario, but I'm trying to understand the knocks on the kid.
Well, the knocks on his kid, and here's the thing: we could probably do a whole show about this, Gene. Okay, we spent 5 years with Gator fans dogging Jameis Winston, rightfully and wrongfully in some cases. We spent, and so now, of course, the Seminole fans who are Bucs fans are going to think this is our time to fire back. And the difference here is Jameis was number 1 overall. Okay, this guy was 64th overall. There's Tom Brady. The Buccaneers went into this draft knowing we don't have to pull a first-day starter. These guys don't have to walk in the building and go play the first game of the season and fill a hole. There's literally no holes, except maybe in the return game. And if you check out the draft, which Joshua right there below me is probably going to break it down better than anybody else can, one of the guys we got later in the draft is literally a special teams and return stud. So, to me, I would give it a higher grade, but I'm also the guy that says, look, we drafted, what was it, 7 guys, 6 guys? And we've seen them play in college. Some of them didn't even play last year. So we have to see how their game translates to the NFL. In my mind, I went into this draft basically saying, just don't draft a kicker in the first or second round and work through it.
Oh, we're still on that.
But I will say, and you brought it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna capitulate to Mr. Joshua, because let me tell you, you see the redness on his cheeks. That's not from the sun. That's not from drinking high quality alcohol. That's from a guy who has probably put in literally, and I'm not exaggerating, everybody, over 100 hours of football content and work since Monday, just covering the draft. So when you listen to Joshua talk, you might look at him and go, hey, I don't know this guy. Who is he? Listen to him. He's had his head up. Well, every player, you know what, for the past 2 months. But anyway, back to the grade. The draft to me and the grade, I think it's a solid B because we haven't seen them play in the NFL, obviously.
Right.
I'm intrigued by Mr. Irrelevant because I watched. Now, granted, we've only watched like the highlights, not the actual film on this guy, but the highlight reel of him, he's a monster, bro. He's a tackling machine. That said, he also, as I mentioned, and Josh will probably bring this up, that he's he could potentially even play fullback or in the fullback set. He's got that mentality. All that said, Gene, I want to shout out to Buck What You Heard. I just saw the Tampa Sports Bay. Hello. We appreciate everything that you've been doing, brother. All the guys at Bucks Report, man, let me tell you. To pull off 2 nights of a draft party at Ferg's where the decibel level was about 150, that was nearly impossible. But the gentleman below me, Rick Hughes, Ray Kennedy, and Harry the Greek, they pulled it off somehow. Pat Searcy, shout out to Pat Searcy as well. Christopher Cole, you're always here, man. We love you like a brother, Christopher. Gene, a solid B. Watch out for the KJ guys, the KJ Britt.
Correct.
He that's a little exciting right there. That could be the guy they're thinking, hey, if Godwin doesn't pan out as far as negotiations.
Oh, no, that's Jalen Darden you're thinking of. KJ Britt is the linebacker. And I got to confess, the cheeks are a little red from some alcohol as well. It's been a long week. It's been a long couple of weeks, man. I'm celebrating.
You've earned it. You know how we do on this show anyway. So
the Buccaneers went into this draft looking for depth and looking to put a couple pieces in for the future. I still go back to exactly. I still go back to the first pick for the Buccaneers. A lot of you guys don't know who he was. Don't just watch his highlight film. Go find some game tape on it. I'm sure Gene will dig it up at some point. The guy's a great player. He's got a huge upside. Is he better than anybody we have at that position? Absolutely not. But he gets to learn from some of the best in the league. Now, gentlemen, I'm gonna go eat some fried chicken, some scalloped potatoes.
Publix?
And no, homemade in a cast iron skillet.
Oh wow!
I'm stepping it up.
I'm a little bit jealous here.
I am too. I just had some pulled pork though, so.
The wife has been soaking this chicken in buttermilk since last night, dude. Let me tell you.
That's how you do it, man.
Real Southern style.
I hope to be able to stay awake long enough to watch the entire show.
Oh, that's gonna put you to sleep, man. Trust me.
Hey, but Gene, first of all, shout out to the shirt, bro. Look at that shirt, guys.
Hey, this is what it's all about,
man. And I didn't know you were at Raymond James Stadium. I could have sworn you were on the other side of the country. Hey, everybody in the comments section, drop your draft grade and do us a favor. Subscribe to Bucks Report on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook if you already aren't. Share. Hit the like button. Tell these guys you appreciate them. 9 out of 10 times these guys are out here just grinding, not because they're bored, but because they want to bring you the Bucks content that we feel like you haven't been getting for years and years and years. So thanks to everybody.
Long overdue.
Absolutely.
And as usual, Bucks Report brings it.
Go to the next comment before the dude leaves. Gotta love Misador with his one-liners.
I need to see the Misador comment. Where's it?
Go to it.
Okay, let me go ahead and drop that in there.
With the dude, you never know, right?
It may be the person, and I wouldn't put it past him.
Misador, you got to choke your chicken before you expect your chicken to soak anything. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's true.
By the way, shout out to the Buckaholics, especially in Indiana. Amber waves
we got a couple of Buckaholics in here. Louisiana, Clay Lynch from
territory.
There we go. Hey, behind enemy lines, doing the thing. Hey, Clay, I have to ask: are you drinking those Saints tears that they're crying and they're going to be crying? I'm sure.
Oh, I'd have a flask full of them. Every time I want to feel good about myself, I just
there you go. So, Josh, I want to bring you in here, man. Thank you for taking time to come on. can you just give us kind of a recap of the draft from your perspective?
Yeah, I thought it was a solid B+, A- draft. I mean, they went out there and they attacked different positions that they felt they needed to address, not only now but in the future. You look at Joe Tryon. The guy is an athletic, powerful edge rusher. He uses his strength a lot more than speed to win, but because he's so strong, he can turn those moves into speed rush moves and really get into the quarterback. Now he's raw. He's only had 1 year as a starter, 1 year as production, but he's coming in, as the dude just said, he's coming in and learning from two of the best, three of the best if you want to count outside linebacker coach Larry Foote, who was a monster in his own right when he was playing. So he's definitely has a lot. He's got a solid foundation to build upon, and I think you're going to see that happen. He'll come in right away as a rotational player. You heard Bruce Arians in the first night of the press conference saying that he's going to play some special teams as well. So they already have him docked as that. All these guys should be playing some special teams in some sort of variety or role, obviously besides Kyle Trask.
Real quick, I'm gonna kind of jump in here.
Yeah, pause me in between prospects. I'll ramble on. I will. Plus, I've had a couple of drinks right now, so I'm gonna ramble on about Joe Tryon for half an hour. I told my wife I got like 15 minutes, but I'll go all night.
That's the guy I want to talk about, Joe Tryon. Somebody made the comparison of him to Noah Spence, and I just this is my thought process. Noah Spence had the physical tools to be a good player, but you don't have it. If you don't have it from here to here, man, you're not gonna make it in the NFL. I mean, there are players that play well.
Who made that comparison, if I can ask?
It was on Twitter. It was on Twitter.
So just a casual who doesn't really study film, who just looks at the name and says, "Oh, he's a Noah Spence guy."
Yeah. So the most promising thing for me with Joe Tryon, when people are like, "Oh, he sat out last year," he worked out the whole time.
Time.
He worked out on technique, and in the NFL, technique is so important. And I want to see if can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And you heard Bruce Arians saying these press conferences, that's they got to get back to basics. Technique is everything. It starts with technique, making sure in the offseason your technique is staying strong. I recently just met Ali Marpet at a training session he was doing over at Skyway Park. And what was he doing? Working on his technique. Ali freaking Marpet, who would have been an all-pro, was an all-pro, a second-team all-pro, but would have been a first-team all-pro guard if he didn't get injured with those concussions. Working on his technique. That's something that you have to work on all the time. You don't want to fall out of sync with what you're doing. So
and you get complacent.
Exactly. And that's something that he has been doing, is working on his technique still and still trying to improve himself. He's a young kid. He's raw. He's got some things that he needs to work on. We know that. They know that. He knows that. So, to judge this pick when almost every media person had this. I'm talking Dane Brugler, Daniel Jeremiah, Jenna Lane for what you Pewter Report, multiple of us on Bucks Report, including myself on my final mock. The multiple outlets had Joe Tryon going here, and it wasn't for no reason. It's because he fits this defense. He's got fluid enough hips to drop back. He can get after the passer. Bruce Arians said in the press conference, he said, he's a power rusher. And now you're seeing a lot of these speed guys, but if you go up against a dominant left tackle, he's going to put those guys. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to put those guys on his ass. That's what he said. He's going to put them guys on his ass, but he's got the strength that opens up his speed array. And he's working on different moves. And again, we haven't seen him for a year, so we don't know what he's developed since that time period. But when he did play, he looked like a heck of a player. And I envision him coming in here, soaking in all the information from a guy like JPP, all the information from a guy like Shaq Barrett, Larry Foote, and really excelling in that role as a rotational guy who plays on special teams and, can step in, hopefully, is what we're all hoping, next year for JPP.
Yeah, and there's no pressure on him right now. Just go in
None at all.
Do what you
do.
On
any of these guys.
And get better. That's the only pressure that they have, is to get better than where they came in to the NFL. That's what's most important. And exactly. you really hope that, I believe that with that locker room, and I've never been so excited about a locker room as I have been for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over this last 2 years. I'm even more excited this year. You look at all the information and just the people that are in that locker room and what you can learn from them.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know who this Craig guy is, but that's a ridiculous comment. That's one of the most ridiculous comments that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of Kyle Trask comments, but that's the most ridiculous comment I've seen. Quan Alexander and Tyron and Joe Tryon are two completely different type of players. Yeah, like I said, I think Tryon's going to be a heck of a pick. He would have gone. I mean, imagine if he had 2 years production. He probably would have been, one of the first edge rushers off the board. As it was, I think he was the 6th edge rusher off the board, right. And I think he could have been taken higher than that. But I love his upside. I love his potential. I love what he can bring to this team for now and then developing into the future. I mean, that's the thing. We talked about this going into the draft, and we're going to talk about it. We talked about it throughout the draft, and we're going to talk about it after the draft. None of these guys need to come in and play right away. They don't. So as a rotational rusher who plays on special teams and gets to learn from two of the best guys, he's an automatic upgrade from Anthony Nelson. That's what I'll say. And I'll end it.
What makes me excited is it's possible that some of these guys can push a veteran and get more playing time. That's not out of the realm of possibility here.
You're looking at two of the two of the edge rushers who don't ever want to come off the field. JPP and Shaq Barrett hate coming off the field for whatever reason. Even if they're gassed and tired as all hell, they don't want to come off the field. And, it's going to be hard for this dude to see some snaps. He's going to have to really work at it and really come in and learn the playbook, learn the terminology, and learn everything. But at this point, Jason Light's track record the last few years has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
more than
yes, and you have to trust that he's had multiple conversations, not just Larry Foote, but Todd Bowles. And if Todd Bowles thinks that he can come in here and be a great situational pass rusher while he develops into a potential starter, who the heck are you people in the comments to challenge that? Who are you?
And my thing here is
armchair analysts.
There are people out there, I'm sure, that have seen more from him that we don't know about. I'm sure that there's more to this because they're not just going to arbitrarily pick some guy and say, okay, this is our guy. There are things out there that they've seen that we haven't seen. Behaviors, technique, just things that go ahead.
They have a great relationship with the coach too. Look at the last 3 years. Vita Vea, Benning Potoa'e, and now Joe Tryon. He's got 2 of his teammates. They could have called both of those guys up, called the coach, called the coaching staff, which they said they did, and they've heard nothing but rave reviews about the guy. And, you listen to his press conference, and this guy's ready to come to work. And it's right around the corner. It's May 1st. They'll be here in 14 days for mini camps. So it's right around the corner. They're going to be here.
Now.
Exactly. We're going to see all these guys in action.
All right, so let's go ahead and go on down the list here of the draft picks. I really wanted to focus on him because this pick and the Trask pick are two that I kind of want to focus on and clear some things up. But go ahead, I'll let you go back to what you were talking about.
No. We can move on to Kyle Trask because I think this is the most disputed and debated pick that they've made so far. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, and it's a lightning rod. And I think I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's because of the school he went to. If you want me to be 100% honest about this, it's because of the school he went to. And I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to get into that. I went to the University of Kansas, so I'm not going to, So I have no skin in the game either way. Yeah. But if we put the school or college rivalries aside, does Kyle Trask belong in the NFL?
Absolutely. And he belongs with this team. There wasn't a better team he could go to, a better quarterback he could learn from, a better coaching staff. Bruce Arians, Clyde Christensen, Tom Moore, Byron Leftwich. The people who were out there judging this pick, they're telling me essentially that they know more than Tom freaking Moore about what quarterbacks are good and what quarterbacks to look for, more than John Spytek, more than Jason Light. Why aren't you guys in the scouting department then? Why aren't you guys GMs? Why aren't the thing about this pick is it's such a perfect pick because they don't have pressing needs. They don't have players that are leaving right now that they have to replace. They not only signed all of their starters back, but they signed all of their key backup guys. They signed Josh Wells. They signed Aaron Stinney. They have who's the guy who opted out last year? Brad Seaton back. They have Ross Cockrell back. They have Kevin Minter back. They have Nacho McClendon back. Like you name the position, they re-signed the guy.
Ryan,
I mean, hopefully they wouldn't have gone for kicker in the second round again. They did sign a kicker today, and I'll get to that. But they did sign a kicker today.
That was like undrafted though. That was
it was undrafted. It was undrafted.
We're good.
But I mean, this is the position, and people are like, oh, we've got Tom Brady. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I mean, Gene, you're a Bucs fan, but I mean, I'm sure you've watched the Patriots and what they've done.
Yeah.
They blew a 7th round pick on Matt Castle. Whatever. They flipped them for a second, though. Yeah. They took a second round pick on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yep.
They flipped them for a second, though. They took a 3rd round pick on Jacoby Brissett. They flipped them for a former 1st round pick, Philip Dorsett, who was instrumental on their Super Bowl run. They took another 2nd round pick on Jarrett Stidham. Jury's still out there. Can they get something in return for him? Will he be the guy? Probably not with Mac Jones coming on. But the moral of the story is here, when Tom Brady was there, they were drafting quarterbacks in the 2nd and 3rd round repetitively throughout the draft. Ryan Mallett, another guy who didn't pan out for them, but went on to start for Houston, went to play for a bunch of other teams around the league. This is Brian Moyer, undrafted free agent that they brought in. I mean, it's if you're not in the game of developing quarterbacks when you have one, what are you doing? Because that's the most valuable position in the entire league is quarterback. And we've seen that with what 49ers had to give up to get to him. So while you have a quarterback, and not just a quarterback, the greatest quarterback of all time, and you don't have any holes, why wouldn't you want to draft a quarterback? That's what I don't understand, why some fans are having a really hard time understanding, is they want a player who can what? I mean, and Jason Light has been saying it in every single press conference I've been in since, we started talking draft. You guys want to see someone come in and make an impact in 2 games. We're looking for someone who can come make an impact 2 years down the line. And you're seeing that with the guys that they've drafted. Maybe not necessarily 2 years with a Joe Tryon or Robert or Hainsey. Those guys might be asked to step in next year. But Trask is a guy, 2-3 years down the line. When does Brady retire? When does Father Time catch up to him? Probably never, because he's just an immortal human being. But it's always good to be in the position of developing quarterbacks in case. And when you have a chance to get a guy who is Brady-esque, who is a pocket passer, and Bruce Arians said it. We don't draft quarterbacks to run; we draft them to throw.
Right.
And you're getting a guy who can throw the ball. 4,200 yards passing, 43 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 20 sacks, but a majority of those sacks were things that Jameis Winston would have never done, is take a sack. How many times last year did you see Tom Brady just take the sack? Because A, he couldn't get it to a receiver's feet for an incomplete pass, or B, throw it outside of bounds and didn't want to have an interception or get it tipped or a fumble.
But that's making those game time decisions, having it from the neck up.
The neck up. Thank you, Gene, for saying that, because that's exactly what Jason said last night. Yeah.
You got to check up from the neck up, especially at quarterback. And, just looking at his numbers, I mean, he's got like 15 interceptions in 2 years. Yeah. Which, to me, that's what you want somebody that's going to be a good decision maker. That's going to be very important. And again, he can just sit back and learn, and that's what you want
from the greatest coaching staff and quarterback of all time when it comes to quarterbacks.
All right. So
one more thing is, the thing that really stood out to me was Bruce and also Jason said it. The key thing that they kept mentioning was perseverance. The way that this guy persevered, not just through high school, through college. A lot of guys transfer. Bruce was saying, they're not going to get the job, so they transfer somewhere else. And you saw that with Justin Fields. You saw that with Joe Burrow last year. You see it with prospects often. He didn't. He stayed there. He progressed. He got better every year, and then finally, boom, he got that starting job this year, and everything clicked. And people want to say like, hey, he had a lot of weapons around him, and that's why good teams, good colleges put good weapons around their players.
Why would you punish somebody for having good weapons on their team?
It shows
that's just the kind of argument I would walk away from personally.
Exactly. It either shows good management at the NFL level or good recruiting at the college level. And You're going to penalize him for that? And coincidentally enough, I don't want to run down the list of weapons the Bucs have. Do you want to? Because I think everybody knows. So, I mean, if you're going to penalize him for having good weapons, well, then he probably should go to a team like the Detroit Lions, who have no wide receivers except for Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I really love a lot. Like, I love that guy. Thought it was a great fit. But, what, are you going to penalize the guy for that? It makes no sense. That's what
I'm saying. I mean, that's an argument I walk away from 10 out of 10 times.
10 times, yeah.
I'm not going there with that. I just don't know what else Jason Light has to show you for you to sit back and say, okay, I'm going to trust the process. But I think people want to be right a lot of times. People want to, I call this pick. And this is what happened. Back in 2015, I called it that the Bucs are going to do this. 2017, I called it the Bucs are going to do this. And yeah, good. All well and good. You're not making any money off of it. I mean, you just got something right. I really believe that, Bucs fans, let's enjoy the ride. Exactly. We're the Bucs are in a good position depth-wise. And I think you're going to have some players that are going to get an opportunity to show what they can do. And, the future looks bright. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. I mean, you clamored. It's funny, Eugene, because a lot of the conversation was like, oh, we got an old quarterback, especially before they won a Super Bowl. It was like, what are they going to wheel him out to the field? What are we going to do? We let Jameis go. That's our future. We got a young quarterback. Now what are we going to do? We got this old quarterback. What if he retires? What's the future without the Bucs? What are they going to do when Brady leaves? Well, now you have a succession plan, potentially, and now they're pissed about that too. And see, the people, my fans of the Audible and on Bucs Report and whoever listens to, reads my work, I've been prepping them for this since the pro day where I talked to Kyle Trask when he said, yes, I've had numerous conversations with them. He's like, I had Byron Leftwich and Clyde Christensen speak to me at my pro day. I'm like, oh, they like this kid. And then me hearing whispers from the organization, people who telling me from the organization that they really like Kyle Trask. And I had him going in the third round, repetitively, third round, slipping one to the fourth round, third round.
Was that because he didn't play last year? Was that your biggest concern?
No. Kyle Trask played last year.
Oh, no, I'm thinking, I'm sorry. Kyle Trask. Go back.
No. But so, I mean, I had whispers coming in. They really like him, man. They really like Kyle Trask. Like, they really like. So I'm like, yeah, but do they like him enough? When all these guys are saying, I mean, he went from a first round pick to a fourth round pick to a third to maybe a second. With all these guys having different boards on him, could they take him in the second round pick? And I was like, no, I think he'll go in the third. And then, that report came out from, I believe it was Ian Rappaport, saying that they've done their due diligence on Kyle Trask and some of these quarterbacks. Like, maybe he might go in the second. And then
what made him drop from a first round pick to where he ended up?
You know what? I don't know if he ever did. That's the thing. The media is I mean, with all things is so convoluted, right? And they're hearing, especially mainstream. Like, I just work with the Bucs, so I just hear what the Bucs say, But if you start going to mainstream media, well, they have 32 different scouts. If there's one scout talking to them, 30 different scouts and coaches saying this and saying that. So when they generate their big boards, they're going off 32, 64 opinions, and that's how it can get convoluted. And the media can sway things. I mean, look at JOK.
Yeah,
JOK fell to the second round, and he was supposed to be a first round prospect. So, so I mean, that's the toughest part. When Dylan Moses from Alabama went undrafted, he was a second round pick at one point. So it's tough for media because you really don't understand what they're going to do. Malcolm Kuntz, the guy that the Raiders took in the third round.
Right.
6th, 7th round grade on him. Like, so it,
but
we don't know,
reach, so, I mean,
they do. We really don't know, what these teams have these guys graded at. But as the draft approached, I made sure anyone who listens to me and follows me knows that, hey, Kyle Trask is indeed a possibility. Get on it now or you're going to be upset when it happens. And most of the people that I know, that I've had time to talk to, explain to on my show, through my articles, they realize that, hey, this was coming. So they're not as shocked and flabbergasted by some people are. But they shouldn't be. They should be happy and excited because they have, a competent quarterback behind Tom Brady who's got, as you said, checks up from the necks up. I like how you said that. And, the potential future of this franchise once Brady does walk away.
Yeah, and think about it. I mean, he played in the SEC, which to me is probably the toughest, division. And I know people would argue it, but just with you look at the number of players that get drafted every year out of the SEC, quality players, not just because they played in the SEC, but they actually have the talent to back it up. And this young man, he had quite a decent career, in playing in the SEC, as tough as it was. And again, I think that he's going to continue to mature, and I only see bigger and better things for him.
Oh, for sure, definitely. I think he definitely has the possibility to be the future quarterback of this franchise. I mean, guys, let's think about it. A month and a half ago, Jason Light was trying to sell us on Blaine Gabbert being the potential backup quarterback, and I didn't hear the outrage then. I didn't hear people go like, Blaine Gabbert, what are you talking about? All of a sudden they dropped a 23-year-old quarterback who had 4,200 yards last year, 43 touchdowns with only 8 picks, and they're like, what are we doing? It's like, would you rather Blaine Gabbert? Like, what are you guys talking about?
No, that's off the board. So what are the Bucs going to do? You've got 3 quarterbacks in camp right now.
They're going to sign Blaine Gabbert. He's coming back.
So he will come back. So
it's going to be Gabbert versus Griffin, and I think we all know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting too, Gene, because I'm wondering what they're going to do with the practice squad, because I know a lot of coaches and a lot of staffs around the league love the rule. They love being able to protect 4 players. They love the expanded practice squads. They love being able to have veterans on there. We haven't heard much about that, and we'll have a second round of owners meetings here, in the next coming months, but we haven't heard much about what they're going to do with practice squads. So if that's the case, I could see Ryan Griffin sticking around in the practice squad. I really could. Why wouldn't you want to stick around? You know the system, you know the offense, and this team could be going for another Super Bowl. You're not going to see the field anywhere else. You've only thrown 4 career passes in your entire career. Why wouldn't you stick around in the practice squad? Yeah, the check is a little lighter, but whatever. You're not moving. You've been here for 7 years. You live here. You're not moving, not having to uproot your, I don't know if he has a family, but I know he has a girl, and we know how women can be. You don't have to move your wife to somewhere like, let's say, Detroit or whatever, who wants to sign you. Yeah. No, Cleveland's going to go to the Super Bowl this year. But
City.
Oh yeah. The Cleveland city sucks. I've been there before. It's terrible. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is all right, but it's overrated at the same time. But anyways, I mean, you're not going to one of those. So that's going to be the thing to watch for that quarterback competition. But I kind of want to get into this 3rd round pick that they got with Robert Hainsey.
Okay, yeah, he was 4th in a Heisman. That's what it was. Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, let's talk about. Let's go ahead.
Now, I don't know about you, and I'm sure Bucs fans in the comments and stuff like that, I was pounding the table. Give me Quinn Miners, the beast from Wisconsin Whitewater. That was one of my draft crushes. I really wanted him there. But, when you look at the pick they made with Hainsey, I think it was a little early, but when you're picking at the end of the 3rd round, unless they would have traded back to get him, that would have been the only scenario. But they wanted to make sure they locked down this guy. And what a guy they got, too.
Yeah.
He's a right tackle that has 34 starts at Notre Dame. Notre Dame pumps out offensive linemen. The last 4 offensive linemen that sent to the league, Mike McGlinchey, Quentin Nelson, the dude from, is it Zach Martin from the Cowboys? I believe so. And another, I forget the other guy too. All pros, all Pro Bowl players. They just pump out these offensive linemen, and one of the reasons is they stick around for 3-4 years. You obviously you saw some of the guys go early with a Liam Eichenberg. Another guy went with Aaron Brooks to the 49ers. Yeah, Zach Martin. Thank you, Craig. They pump out good quality offensive linemen, and the thing about him is he played right tackle all through his college career. But when he got to the Pro Bowl, when he got the Pro Bowl invite, he knew teams were going to want to see him play at multiple positions, at guard, at center, at left guard. So what did he do? Instead of sitting around and waiting for something to happen, he went out there and he made sure that he practiced at center, practiced at right guard. And we're talking about very limited time before you receive that Senior Bowl invite and the end of the playoff game, because they made the playoffs. They lost to Bama, but they made the playoffs. So within those 2.5-3 weeks, he went out there, busted his ass, and practiced snaps as a center, practice his technique as a guard and show that he could play not only guard, not only center, but both guard positions, left, right, center, and right tackle. The guy can play 4 positions for you. Someone said it in a previous comment, his versatility is going to help out tremendously. You remember they had a guy like that last year on the team, right? Signed with, I believe, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Joe Haig. Joe Haig could play tackle, guard, center, guard.
That's right.
And he came in and he had to play one game. But the thing that used him most when their line was healthy was as a jumbo tight end, Gene. And if you remember in the Super Bowl, Joe Haig was in the Super Bowl on offense for 33% of the snaps. 1/3 of the snaps in the Super Bowl, they had an extra tackle out on the field as a jumbo tight end. And that's what I think this guy can do. I think this guy can come in here and contribute his rookie year, not only on special teams in the field goal unit, but also on as a jumbo tackle in certain situations. Obviously, it all depends on how quickly he can pick up the terminology, because you not only have to learn your assignments as an offensive lineman at 4 different positions, but also your assignment as a jumbo tight end. But he's coming from Notre Dame. The kid's a smart apple. There's a reason why these guys go high in the draft when they come out. And they rarely come out often because they stay there for 3-4 years because he doesn't want to play at Notre Dame.
And this is the thing to think about as well. He's going to be sitting behind all your starters are back.
Exactly.
And so this is going to give him an opportunity. He's not going to get pushed into duty right away, but I think there's going to be room for him to come in and try to win that playing time. I think you're going to see that from quite a few of these draft picks. And I don't know. A lot of people were unsure. This was just kind of a weird draft this year compared to I don't know. It was off. I don't know how to really describe it because there's like
volatility. It was a volatile draft. And that's something when I spoke to Mel Kiper a few weeks ago, that's what he said. Yeah, and I'm sorry for all the name droppings, but I'm going to drop him as long as I can. So
right, you're protected on this show.
I was talking to Mel Kiper. That was one of the questions that I asked him. I was like, when it comes to this offseason and ranking and stuff like that, what do you think? How much of a difference do you think we're going to see in these teams and their grading and their boards? I mean, you go to this website, it's got this. You go to that website, it's got. I mean, PFF is fantastic. I would not go anywhere else for analysis on snap, on plays, on whatever, anything else. I'm not going anywhere else for that. But PFF had Joe Tryon ranked as the number 84th player in the draft.
Yep.
They
gave the Bucks a F for that pick. They said it was a poor pick.
And they had Najee Harris rated as the 65th best player in the draft. Now they do theirs on positional value too as well. And then running back obviously is not as high, but still, I mean, that's just what I'm looking at here, and I'm saying, okay, you're taking these analytics and. That's where analytics gets messy with football, right? Because there's the eye test and there's analytics, and they rely on analytics and not both. Go ahead, sorry.
Right. I think that they're both tools that need to be used together. You can't use one. One is not an end-all, be-all, because I've looked at PFF, and I'm like, no, because tape don't lie. What you're saying, I know you're looking at statistics, but there are intangibles that you can't put statistics on. And tape don't lie. When you use them together, it gives you a clearer picture of what you're looking at. So I'm not gonna knock on I know you're not either. But,
I had PFF on my show last week and I knocked them on those rankings.
I've got PFF. I mean, I use it on a regular basis and I use it for certain things, but I'm not gonna say, okay, PFF said this, that's gospel. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Oh, Gene. Case in point, they didn't have Tristan Wirfs ranked as a top 5 right tackle last year.
Exactly.
He was arguably the number 1, if not the number 2 right tackle in the league, and maybe Ryan Ramczyk is the only case you can make. I mean, what he did throughout the season, allowing 1 sack to Khalil Mack, one of the best freaking pass rushers in the league, and holding Joey Bosa to under a 10% win rate. That is just absolutely insane. I don't know how many snaps he played in that game. I'll have to go back and look. But, I mean, if you're talking about if they went up against each other 100 snaps, that means he only won 9 of those snaps tops.
He was getting hammered.
Joey freaking Bosa against a rookie right tackle in week 4, right? It was week 4 game.
It would have been week 4, yeah.
Because because Carolina was week 3. That was week 4. Crazy.
And Karen Jordan couldn't do anything against him.
Nothing.
He crickets. That's all you heard from that clown was, hey, you went up against Tristan Wirfs, but we have a horrible quarterback and all this other stuff that he tries to throw shade or whatever. So
the moral of the story is I really like Robert Hainsey. I think I like his versatility. I loved Quinn Miners. Well, Quinn Miners doesn't give you as much position flexibility. Mm-hmm. You can only play center, can only play guard.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And while the guy taught himself how to play center as well as Hainsey did, and was one of the most dominant offensive linemen at the Senior Bowl with a broken hand, he played D3 competition. I think that's why you saw him fall in the 3rd round.
Yeah, but you would think that people would learn that there's talent to be had in D3 schools. Again, versatility. There's that word. The one thing that I will say about Jason Light, since he's been in Tampa, the players he's brought in, whether they panned out or not, have been versatile players.
Yeah,
they play more than one position, and you can utilize them in other parts of your scheme. And I think when he got together with Bruce Arians and they brought in that huge coaching staff, and that was a marriage made in heaven, because that's what Jason Light looks for, is versatile players. We look at you.
Shout out to the Glazers too for being willing to pay that entire coaching staff as well.
Yeah. But I've been wondering this for the past couple of years, because the NFL is a copycat league. Are you going to start to see more of this? Are you going to start to see that versatility, the diversity that they have? Having women on the staff, as long as they can coach, that's who you want out there. And I love that.
Exactly.
Jason Light and Bruce Arians, that staff and the Glazers, it makes me proud right now.
So proud.
Just being a Bucs fan.
Absolutely. And I've talked to many women in sports and minorities in sports too, who cover sports, who are coaches in sports and stuff like that. And the Glazers really set the tone for the entire sports world right now. And it's really disappointing that we don't see more leagues around the NFL and around all general sports in general. Not only you mentioned the coaching staff, but not just the coaching staff, the front office, Jackie Davidson, some of the top people in the front office that aren't involved with the day-to-day, football operations part of it, but they're females and minorities. And then you look all the way down to the writing staff, Carmen Vitale, female, minority. You look at Casey Phillips. She's the face of the Buccaneers, for Christ's sakes, and she's a female. So they've done an amazing job of making sure that they have a very inclusive, and that goes all the way back from having Lovie Smith in here and having some of these other coaches that they brought in there. They've always been progressive, and they continue to do so. And I think right now you're looking at one of the most progressive staffs from top to bottom, from top front office all the way down to coaching in the entire sports world, not just the NFL. And you made a good point about them having all these coaches. And I don't know about you. If I'm one teacher and I'm teaching 30 kids, how do you think that's going to go? How do you think my point's going to get across? But if I'm one teacher, if I'm 3 teachers or 2 teachers and I have 30 kids, now I can give them better learning, better attention, better technique. And that's I'm sure that's a case that Bruce made to the Glazers when he's like, hey, I want to bring on 30 freaking coaches. They're like, 30 coaches, the rest of the league has 15. and of course, you have Keith Armstrong as your special teams coach. Then they have a separate kicking coach as well, just to work with the kickers and punters. So, and it pays off. Say what you want about Bradley Pinion, but his averages were the highest they've ever been. And do I need to say anything about Ryan Suckup? I don't think so.
No, he made you forget we ever had kicking problems.
Exactly. So moving on to the second most controversial pick in this draft, I think, Jalen Darden out of North Texas.
Yes.
A lot of people, a wide receiver. We just got Tyler Johnson and we got Scotty Miller. And this dude is an animal, first of all. He's small, but he's quick. And he offers something that one of Bucs reports, Evan Winter, he made a good point. He compared him to Rondell Moore Light. This dude's amazing, right? He's second in the country with touchdowns at 19. Third in the country behind Devontae Smith and Amari Rodgers in yards after the catch. And that's something that Jason Light brought up in the press conference earlier today was his rack ability, his run after the catch, his yards after the catch. He was third in the country behind Devontae Smith and Amari Rodgers. His speed is off the charts. And not only does he have great speed, and a lot of people will look at his size and look at his speed and say, oh, so he's like Scotty Miller. But he's not. He's more than that. He's a guy who can play inside, who can play outside. His route running is impeccable. He's a very good wide receiver. I don't know how he kind of fell this far. And a lot of people were talking about him prior to as a potential fit. But getting him in here, and he traded up for him too. I mean, that just shows how much this coaching staff likes him. Not only that, Bruce Arians went on NFL Network shortly after in the draft, and they asked him about Jalen Darden specifically, and he said, I've already talked to Tom. Tom's excited to get to work with this Jalen Darden kid because of the type of element he adds to this offense, which is completely different. And hey, Gene, we didn't even get to the fact about the kid's a pretty damn good kick returner, punt returner with an 81-yard return on his resume.
There you go, man. And I've been talking about this a little bit earlier. The Bucs have always had issues with kick returners, punt returners. I mean, historically, that's just been, right there with quarterbacks sometimes. But it's just been one of those things. They've never been able to get a good, consistent kick returner for any period of time.
I will say, Tampa Bay's media darling. Everybody. I mean, you go to Luke Easterling, you go to Scott Reynolds, you go to Greg Auman, you go to myself. I mean, I don't think I'm up there with those three. I'm trying to work my way up there, and hopefully you guys, will, embrace me as someone, who's making his way up there. But us four, we all had Avery Williams, the cornerback out of Boise State, who had 9 touchdown returns. He had 9 touchdown returns on punts and kicks. He had 5 blocks on punts and kicks, and he also had a forced fumble return for a touchdown on a punt or a kick. The guy's a special teams maven. He's a gunner. He's just amazing. We got Jalen Darden in the 4th, and then in the 5th round, he was snatched up by Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to have to see this guy 2 times a season, which is a little scary, but that was the main focus about today. And that's what Bruce said last night in his press conference after they wrapped it up was, we need to go in and make sure we're addressing special teams. Speed. And you saw that with the speed of a guy like Jalen Darden. You can play gunner, punt returner, kick returner. And you saw that with another player 2 picks from now. When we'll get into about Chris Wilcox, another guy, speed, size, can contribute as a gunner right away. Special teams was a core focus today. They found that they got their potential guard, maybe center of the future, depending on what they do with Jensen and Kappa. The most likely scenario, I still see them maybe re-signing Jensen. They have to open up some more cap space if they want to bring Gabbert back, and not just Gabbert, but emergency money as well. They opened up $4 million, but then they had to use some with Cam Brate, but they had to use some of that for Antonio Brown. But you need to sign Gabbert back, and you definitely want to. You never know what free agents are going to come available after June.
Yeah,
1st, right?
And we're not even into June yet, so we have no idea. I mean, even after
Post June 1st cuts, there could be tons of cut downs. I mean, at the end of the year, cut downs. If you want to add a player, you can't be like, well, we have no freaking money. So I think Jensen does happen. I think if anything, Alex Kapp is the one that leaves next year.
Yeah.
So Robert Hainsey was those first 2 picks, two of those first 3 picks was insurance for JPP and insurance for Kappa in my mind.
I got to ask you this, just based on what you saw from Stinnie, is he competing with Kappa?
No.
I
won't let you finish that. No, Kappa has been an amazing, solid foundation piece there. I think it was very impressive what Stinnie did in a 2-game sample size, but I'm not ready to say, okay, you're the guy instead of Kappa. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, he signed a 2-year deal, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so they've got him around here for 2 years. He's a high quality backup, If someone goes injured, that's something that we thought. I mean, remember last year we were like, oh, the backup offensive line is terrible. And then, Stinnie steps up because he has to. And, he's a solid backup. Josh Wells, another guy, solid backup. He can step up when he needed to. And he did come in for a game when Donovan Smith was injured for a few plays and held his own out there. And plus you're getting Brad Seaton back, who is, in my mind, a better backup tackle than Josh Wells is, and he opted out last year because of COVID. What a terrible time to opt out of COVID, but I get it. Keep your family and healthy, safe. I completely understand. I completely understand the reasons for it, but damn, that sucks. And they have a couple guys on the roster, John Molchin, who I think they really like. He's more of a guard guy, but that's the thing now with a guy like Hainsey who can play center, because you remember we were screaming like, who's the backup center? They got to put Ali Marpet in there, or if anything, and then fix the line around. Now they got a guy who can play center. So, I like the depth of the offensive line now. I think the depth of adding Hainsey really shores up that depth. You know what Stinnie can do. It's not a question mark, and it's good moving forward. The next guy they drafted, this guy is an old school linebacker. I mean, Jason Spytek said he could have dropped him in the game 20 years ago, and he would have done well. He's a 2-down linebacker, so he's not your typical 3-down guy, but KJ Britt out of Auburn. This dude is a thumper. Like, he's going to – if you're a running back and he's got a clear shot at you,
get ready.
Get ready. You just stop what you're doing and just brace yourself for the hit, because he's going to lay you the hell out. Yeah. This guy can knock. Like, he's that good. I mean, his speed isn't great, obviously. He's going to be a special teams guy as well. He's got that athletic ability to be a special teams guy. But, yeah, this dude can hit. Very smart, very, intelligent guy. He was someone who he had no contact with the Buccaneers at all. No contact. And, by the way, I spoke with most of these guys at the pro day. Joe Tryon had let me know that he spoke to the position coaches. Kyle Trask has let me know that he spoke to the position coaches multiple times. Hainsey said he's spoken to the position coaches as well at the Senior Bowl, after the Senior Bowl. Jalen Darden, I didn't have a chance to speak to. KJ Britt, like I said, he had no idea. He didn't speak to them once. He didn't even know. Like, he was blindsided. Was his exact words? He's like, kind of blindsided by this. I didn't talk to them at all, and here they are picking me. But you can see why. When you have two athletic corner linebackers like a Levante David and a Devin White, sometimes when you need to give someone a little, Christian McCaffrey gets a little froggish just on you a couple plays, you throw in KJ Alvin Kamara, definitely, because he's a cocky son of a bitch. You pop him with a KJ Britt real quick, and now it's like, okay. All right, I'm sorry. He's the guy who can punch you in the mouth, and that's great to have at the position. Plus, he's going to be a special teams guy. Again, all these guys are special teams guys. I really like what he brings to the table. So do the coaches, obviously, or else they wouldn't have drafted him that high in the 5th round. I had a couple other guys higher than him, but going back, looking at his scouting report, looking at some of the tape, I totally get why they took this pick. I mean, he's different from what you have on the roster right now. And sometimes having different is good. But he's going to come in and going to learn from both of those guys.
Yeah, having that change of pace player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We talk about it with running back, but linebacker is just as important. I think those two positions kind of mirror each other, He's got to get better in coverage. That's something that sucks. Man coverage is not that good in. I don't want to say it sucks. That's harsh, but I've had a couple of trades. He's got to get better at man coverage too if he wants to stay on the field. First, second down. But I mean, we're a long way away from that as well, anyways. Yeah,
there you go. All right, so the linebacker position, I'm glad that like I said, this
two picks.
This is a very well-rounded out draft, to be very honest. And let's talk about. I guess Chris Wilcox was the next pick, correct?
Yeah, Chris Wilcox out of BYU. I love this kid. 6'2", ran a 4.4 40. Guy's got size. Guy's got speed. He's got a lot of things that you're looking for. He made his bread and butter on special teams before he became a starting quarterback. I think only had 1 year as a starter. Hold on, let me double check that. I don't want to give you false information. There's so many names running through my head nowadays. Like that's why I'm like, I need to clear my head tonight. It's actually my friend's birthday party that lives across the street. So I gotta come back and do Gene's show because I bailed out on you. Although you didn't send me the link last night, but I bailed out on you last night when I was supposed to pop on. I felt bad. But Chris Wilcox, I said 4.4, 4.3 40 at 6'2". 198 pounds. Let me see. 3-year starter at BYU. Okay, so we started 3-year. Outside cornerback, mostly zone coverage. The guy can come in. He's going to compete for that fifth spot with Herb Miller, right? Herb Miller did some good things. Got called up to the big time last year. Had an interception against the Detroit Lions. I think they really like Herb Miller, but it's always good to have competition, right?
Absolutely.
And when you're trying to add more speed, more size, Herb Miller undrafted free agent. Now you're drafting this guy in the 6th round. You want him to be 7th round. I'm sorry. You want him to come in and compete for that job. And I think it's going to be a really good competition. You'll re-sign Ross Cockrell. He's locked in there, which I thought was a huge move. You heard a lot of people. I'm sure you heard it on your show too. What about Richard Sherman, Gene? Do you think they can get Patrick Peterson? I heard that Stephon Gilmore only has $7 million cap hit. Could we trade for him? You don't want to mess with your group.
Listen, when I hear people are when I hear people have been cut or let go or released, whatever, I'm like, the first thing I'm doing, hey, it's not news until it is news. I don't want to sit here and discuss this. Hey, let's get this guy. Let's get this guy. Let's wait and let the general manager do his thing. I understand it's fun to say what if, but I would rather just wait and see what happens personally. Because I heard everybody. I mean, anybody that was a big name that was released this year,
especially a veteran guy who wants to chase a ring.
Yeah, I heard it, but I love what Tampa has done. And just kind of going back to free agency, you bring in a pass catching back that you upgrade over a Shady McCoy. I think the Bucs have done an amazing job this offseason, and this should at least make you comfortable enough to say, okay, let's see what these picks do. I mean, just everything they've done the last 2 years.
It's all depth.
Yeah.
Every position, the first round pick is all depth right now. And could they develop into guys? You hope. But that's a luxury of being, you're all in for this year and next year.
Yeah.
Was this? No, I don't think so. I think the fact that they didn't draft a safety reassures me what I already know. My man, one of the first guys I've ever spoke to in my professional career, Javon Hagan out of Ohio State. He's the guy for the job. You want to talk about a guy with versatility who can play different positions. He can play strong. He can play full. He can sneak down as a nickel safety. This guy is the real deal. I love Javon Hagan's game. He actually got called up for his first ever game in the NFC Championship game of all counts, where they're missing Winfield, where Whitehead goes down, when Andrew Adams is on the field. And, he saw a few snaps there. He saw a few snaps on special teams. But Javon Hagan's a guy. Unless something happens where some free agent safety gets cut or whatever after June 1st and, something happens injury-wise, Javon Hagan's the guy at fourth safety. Yeah. And that's why they felt comfortable letting Andrew Adams go. He's going to be a factor on special teams, and you can trust him to go in there if he needs to as the fourth guy. But Chris Wilcox, I think, he comes in, competes with Herb Miller. It's going to be a very interesting competition. But, speed kills. You can't teach that.
You can't coach speed. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It might be an uphill battle for Herb Miller as much as they like him. We said the same thing about Dakota Dixon and Mazzie Wilkins last year. Tampa guy played his football at Plant High School here in Tampa, went to UCF, then got the call to Tampa Bay. They still cut him because Herb Miller outplayed him, So it's a business.
Yeah, and the thing is, you want your best players on the field. That's what it comes down to. And there's no, here's a hometown. He's a hometown guy. Let's give him no. You want the best player. You've got to bring your A game, or you got to go somewhere else and come back and regroup or whatever. So this last pick, Grant Stewart,
Mr. Irrelevant, which I hate the name because this guy is nothing but nothing close to irrelevant.
I really believe that, and I've seen him. In talking with Michael Pless, who kind of turned me on to him, this guy is legit. This guy is genuinely, he's that Mr. Irrelevant. I guess I'm like, wow, that's
yeah. He really turned it on at the Senior Bowl. That's where, and he was injured, by the way, too. He let us know he was injured during the Senior Bowl. But what he said today in his press conference when we were talking to him was, he wanted to go out there and show his leadership, his character, and his ability to get everybody going. He wanted to be able to show his versatility. The guy was a big nickel safety last year. The year in 2019, led the team in tackles at that role. Moved to middle linebacker this year, led the team in tackles at that role. Didn't get to finish the season. Not only that, the year prior to that, he was a weak side linebacker. So right there, you have weak side, middle, and nickel safety. The guy's got versatility to play all over the field. Let me get his 40 time for you because I don't want to tell you something wrong.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Bro, I've got a binder full of stats here and notes and shit stuff, whatever. Whatever. It's after dark. It's Saturday.
Yeah,
go to bed, kids. It's after 10.
So for you, when you look at the draft top to bottom,
yeah,
I think the Bucks did what they needed to do. They set themselves up for the future, and I'm personally comfortable with the draft. They weren't looking for starters.
No,
I can tell you that because they brought everybody back.
Yep.
So that's what people have to get in your head. This is an opportunity to gamble. And you know what? Bringing a quarterback in, it's a good idea. It may not be the quarterback you wanted, but I like, just looking at his numbers. I like what he's done. I'll look at a little bit more in depth at him, but I'm happy with the picks. I'm in the passenger seat. I'm just enjoying the ride. I've got the window down.
That's how everyone should be right now, Gene.
And let's see what happens. You got a Super Bowl. People keep forgetting the Bucks just won a Super Bowl. Okay, let's enjoy that. What else do you need him to do to where you can be comfortable enough to say, okay, I'm good with this. Let's just see what happens.
Hey, you're in the Bucks house, right? And they're right now, I can see you there. You're in the Bucks house, and they're playing with that money right now. They're playing with house money. Brady came in and won a Super Bowl the first season. If they go 7-9, or not 7-9, that's impossible. 7-10, are you really guys going to be pissed off and upset about it? How can you? You guys, you just won a Super Bowl, and you've brought everybody back and you've gotten better because now everyone has a full year. And obviously Brady got offseason surgery, which kind of throws a wrinkle into really kind of but it doesn't, he should be ready by June mini camps and OTAs and then by training camp. And you're going to get a training camp and you're going to get preseason games. And it's just going to make this team better because they're going to have this continuity. AB's not only going to be there for, the last 8 games of the regular season and playoffs, he's going to be there for the entire onset of the entire, injuries are the only team that can fudge this thing up because I think that, it's going to be really tough for teams to knock this team off, especially in the NFC. I don't see a team that can really compete with them. Maybe you want to say the Rams who beat them last year, but as Craig says, 14-3. I don't see them losing more than 3 games. I don't, and I'm not going to throw the word out there because I don't want to start it too early. But if everything is clicking and they pick up right from where they left off, they could do it. And it's the only thing on Tom Brady's resume that he hasn't done yet. He's got more Super Bowl championships than any franchise in the NFL. There's one thing that he's been so close to, frickin' Eli Manning, that, if everything goes the right way and they play the way they can, I think they could do it. I want to run down the list of undrafted free agents before I got to run out of here. Johnny, what's going on, my man? So far they brought in about 9 undrafted free agents. They've got Florida A&M tackle Calvin Ashley, Navy defensive back who was a captain and leader of the school there, Cameron Kinley, Miami kicker Jose Borregales, Iowa State safety Lawrence White, Cincinnati defensive lineman Elijah Ponder, FAMU linebacker, outside linebacker Leighton McCarthy, South Carolina guard Sedarius Hutchins was the guy I would look on to kind of be this year's John Molchan. Definitely a good prospect. I thought he would have gone drafted earlier. Stony Brook safety Augie Contressa. And there's one more. Let me just scroll up to him. I'm sorry about the delay. West Virginia wide receiver TJ Simmons. So there's 9 guys they brought in already. Jason said, we're not going to pull out the team to 90 just yet earlier in his press conference, but they're pretty much on their way. I think they're like 4 or 5 players shy from 90. So, take that for what it's worth. But
absolutely.
Overall, like I said, I give this draft a B plus, maybe an A-, depending when we see them at rookie minicamp, which will be in about 14 days. Can't wait to be there to cover that for you guys. Covered some needs, on special teams. 4th linebacker, fifth cornerback, sixth wide receiver, which kind of means say goodbye to Jada Mickens for sure after that gun charge. And, see you later probably to Justin Watson as well. So those guys are probably both out of there. And obviously needs of the future with a guard, a edge rusher, and a quarterback. So I don't know how you can be upset with that. But with that, Gene said, I'm going to bounce out of here. My wife's going to kill me. I've been like 45 minutes. But like I said, I could do this all day. I did do it all day yesterday and Thursday. I could keep going, man. I could talk about all this stuff.
I want to tell you right now.
We even talk about winners and losers as a whole. Cleveland, Carolina got especially better. The Jets had a heck of a draft. But that's not here nor there.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Thank you for everything you've done. You've made this a success for Bucks Report, and you're greatly appreciated, man. Just so you know.
Absolutely. If you guys aren't following me, please do so. I'm on Twitter at Joshua_C_Allen, pushing for 1,000. That's the thing.
Gonna happen.
And every Thursday night, I'll be here on the Audible, live right here on Bucks Report. Make the right call. Tune into the Audible. A little play on words there. Something that Jameis never did. Literally, I was for my first year last year, I was looking for like my opening credit scene. I was trying to find a video of him making an audible call. Jameis making an audible call. He never was allowed to make audible calls. Not once. So make the right call. We got Tom Brady here. Make the right call every Thursday night, 8:30 with Joshua Cole Allen, right here on Bucks Report Live, the Audible. Tune in. Give me a follow on Twitter. I appreciate that. I follow back as well, even though I'm trying to fix my ratio. But who cares about that? Draft week is over. I'm going to go have a couple more drinks with umbrellas in it. I don't care what you say about that.
No, man, you're protected here. I keep telling you. Bro.
Gene, right. I appreciate you. Johnny, you already know how I feel about you, my man. Bucks fans, you know what we're doing? Going for 2. They made a lot of progress to that tonight. So with that being said, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. And that was Joshua Cole Allen. How you doing, man?
All right, man. I want whatever kind of fountain of youth stuff that Joshua's been getting a hold of, man, because that guy is everywhere.
His motor just never stops.
And he's on it, man. Hey, man, I just wanted to say, love the shirt, dude.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, man.
I got that exact same one, bro. You got to represent Pittsburgh with that thing on all the time, man.
So I want to get your thoughts on the draft before we roll out of here, man, because we've been on for getting ready to go an hour and 17 minutes. But I definitely
sent me a link and told me to come up here, man. And I said, he's still on? I'm like, it's like, seriously? Wow.
Yeah, so I wanted to get your thoughts on the draft top to bottom, and then we'll, hopefully I can get you on sooner next time.
I like Tryon. Tryon, I think, can compete in that rotation spot. Mm-hmm. That'll be a good serious competition right there with I can't remember his name now. I've got so many names running through my head. Who is it? Nelson?
Anthony Nelson?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, Kyle Trask, he gets to sit and learn from not just a great quarterback, but a great quarterback room with those guys and that with Moyer and all those guys, man. You got some really, really great teachers there. So I got high hopes for Trask's future there.
Yeah, he's a Buccaneer now. That's the investment they made with that pick, and I want it to be a successful one. So I want him to be able to learn. I want him to improve, whether it's with mental reps or whatever he does physically. I want him to be able to improve. So when his number does get called, he'll be able to come out and be successful.
Absolutely, man. And even Mr. Irrelevant, dude. I can see everybody having a spot. It might not be the glamour spots or whatever. I can see like that kid. If you listen to his interview, man, you just fall in love with him. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And looking at the tape on him and stuff, I can see him being a gunner. A lot of people wanted to turn him into a fullback. So,
Yeah, it's going to be really – this year is going to be fun to watch the competition and see who ends up. There's going to be some surprises. I'm going to go on record right now saying there will be some surprises. Some players are not going to be here that you thought would be here for that next Super Bowl run. But
right.
I just want to see how the whole camp and preseason, rookie camp, OTAs, see how all that plays out, and let's
absolutely
let's get ready, get back to basics, and do this all over again.
And that wide receiver we got, man.
Oh yeah,
everybody was complaining about us moving up for.
Yeah, they complained about us moving up for our Tristan Wirfs last year too, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. But I like him too. I like to see that return game come back. Him and TJ Logan will probably be battling for that spot.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the name I forgot about, TJ Logan, because of the injury.
Everybody did. He was averaging 23 yards per return, man. So he wasn't bad. Then we ended up with Mickens, and well, I don't know anybody that's really high on Mickens. So
yeah, he's gone. I'm pretty sure he's gone.
Absolutely.
So is there out of the main picks from 1 to 7, is there anybody that you would recommend to the listeners that they should really keep an eye out for?
Well, as an unexpected impact, well, I can't say impact because these guys are not going to be in the impact zone.
Right.
They're going to be rotation. They're backups and stuff like that, or special teams players. But I think the biggest impact is if this kid that we got, Mr. Irrelevant, works out.
Yeah,
you won't see Mentor back there in that spot no more. He'll be taking Mentor's spot, and Mentor will be able to focus more on the rotation.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll keep an eye out for that. And I want to take a moment to thank Rick for all the hard work that Rick did. Just being able to be here, and the draft. I thought Bucks Report did an amazing job with the draft.
They nailed it, dude.
They did.
They were all over it.
And even with the technical difficulties, they did a great job. And this just makes you happy to be a part of Bucks Report, and just what they're doing and how they're growing, and they're doing everything the right way. Just from top to bottom. So it's exciting times here, and things are only going to get better as we continue to grow.
Yeah, and you got JCA out there breaking out the early draft picks, man.
Yeah.
Giving you the heads up, people.
There you go. You just got to make sure if you're not following Joshua Cole Allen that you do on Twitter. Let's try to help him get to 1,000. And that will definitely be dope if we can do that.
I can't imagine having 1,000 followers on Twitter, man. My head would explode. I can't keep up with the few I got.
It's not that bad.
I can't keep up with the few I got, man, between Facebook, Twitter, and 3 or 4 shows. And
so that's normally
cool, though, man.
And
what do you think? I'm sorry.
I love it. I love the draft. I love the picks. I felt like the Bucks hit on both sides of the trenches. They hit on quarterback, which everybody's been asking about since Tom Brady got here. We know he's not going to be here for an extended period of time. What are you doing after he's gone? And I think they've kind of tried to answer that question here. The wide receiver room is going to continue to get better. If you can even say that, just with the level of talent that they have, they're going to continue to get better. And I'm excited for some of these guys that we have in here. And let's go, man. I'm ready for the season to be here tomorrow.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And for everybody that's complaining, well, we should have got Mond, or we should have got Wills, or whatever. Man, stop. This quarterback, it don't matter. If we'd have got any of the 3, I'd have been happy, because for one thing, they're going into the perfect system. They're going into the perfect development staff to become what they need to be.
And there's no expectations on them.
Yeah, none. There's no expectations on them at all. So be it Trask, who it is right now, he is in the perfect situation. You think Mac Jones in New England's in the perfect situation? This is even a better situation, because Mac Jones is going to have to step up here soon.
Yeah.
Trask has a year, 2 years to sit there and develop his brain, develop his skills, get out there on the practice squad with former quarterbacks and the greatest. Come on, man.
There you go. You can't argue that.
Have a good night, Gene. I got to get out of here, man. I just stopped. I got out of the store late, man. I got home. I was like, wow, man, I'm missing Gene's show, because you're only on for an hour usually, man.
Yeah, but I'm normally this is what's cooking in the South is normally at this time. and I was fortunate enough to be able to come in here and just kind of substitute for that. But everything will be back to its regularly scheduled programming here pretty soon, next week for sure.
Rick needs about a week's worth of sleep.
I love Rick Hughes. I love the work that he does. And if you know anything about his background, like, he's a phenomenal person, and is just awesome, just getting to check out his shows. I always gain weight with what's cooking from the South, because he's always talking about good food, and me.
Makes you want to run out and grab everything he's talking about. Yeah,
exactly. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump off of here, but I want to thank everybody. If you get a chance, please go over to Bucks Report on YouTube and subscribe and like that channel. Big things are coming with Bucks Report, so hang in there. It's only going to get better, and
don't blink, you'll miss it.
Yep, stress less. Just kind of sit back and enjoy the ride. It's going to be fun.
All right, later, Gene.
All right, and guys, that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, but thank you so much for taking the time to check us out. We're out.